If he wants to come on now, he can come on now. Yeah, we can do that. We can always. Hey, we will always make room for Mickey Spagnola. We will always make room for Mickey Spagnola. Is he there? There he is. Look at you.
Well, thank you. How you guys doing?
It's good to talk to you, man. Boy, I tell you what. The Cowboys just keep on keeping on. What's practice been like this week? Tell the folks.
Well, this will be the second practice today, and the weather's a lot nicer today, and I imagine they get more done than yesterday when, I think the wind chill was in the mid-20s, and the wind was, I swear to God, you guys, the wind was coming straight from Oklahoma at 30 miles an hour.
Oh, I guarantee you.
It was just brutal
It's
here.
the same way here.
So they were out there practicing, though, so I guess that got them prepped for what they might face in Green Bay on Sunday while the Packers were practicing indoors, by the way, because they like playing in that kind of weather.
Oh, man. Look at you. Already taking pot shots. Look at you.
Well, I just think, everybody thinks, they got this great home field advantage because they're used to playing in cold weather. No, they're not used to. They're used to living in it, but they sure ain't used to playing football games in it, and they don't like it either.
Mickey Spagnola with us. Where are I hate doing fill in the blank radio, but I'm going to do it here.
Okay.
Fill in the blank radio. The Cowboys are head and shoulders better than the Packers at blank.
Oh. Well, I just read an article how the Packers have struggled on special teams, covering returns. So maybe the Cowboys are better at that. I don't know that they're better offensively. I would say I think they match up very favorably to the Packers offensively. Defensively, it's a little bit of a push, I think, from what the Cowboys have done at least the last month of the season. So I can give you one stat they're better than them. They're better scoring touchdowns in the red zone than the Packers are, and certainly better over the last month of the season. So the Cowboys have been pretty good at that.
How good is the Cowboys' defense in their own red zone?
You know what? I would have to look that up. I don't have that off the top of my head, but I do know that. I
feel like there's been a lot of field goals this year. I do feel like they've given up a lot of field goals. Maybe I'm wrong.
They've given up. No. And so when I'm talking red zone, I'm talking touchdowns, not field goals. Right. And they've done a better job. You're right, of limiting teams. It seems like when a drive stalls out against them, it's a field goal in the red zone, not a touchdown. And I'll tell you what, when you get in the playoffs, the more field goals you kick, the closer you are to losing, because you better score some points, and the Cowboys better score some points going up there, having to take on that team at that place.
Do you expect a lot of points?
Yeah, I do. I think we're looking for a 30-something game, unless the weather goes way downhill. I think if it's just cold, I think the offensive can handle that. Now, if it's cold and the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour, then that might be a different story. And it doesn't seem like, the last time I checked, there was a 20% chance of snow on Sunday afternoon. Now, that could always get in the way, too. So there's some elements there that could slow down these offenses, but they've both been awfully good all season long.
Mickey Spagnola with us. Obviously the Cowboys fans in this area are, they're excited, and they should be. And the question I keep on getting, and I don't know the answer, is, when people say, well, this team kind of reminds me of those Super Bowl teams, and I ask how, and they don't answer. And so I will ask you, give me the correlation. Where is the correlation between, I'm sure there is one, or multiple, between the Super Bowl champions that you covered in the 90s and this team? Is there what's the common thread? Is there one?
The closest correlation, and I don't think it's the Super Bowl champs. I think it was when the Cowboys came out of nowhere, most people's estimation, in 1991, and ended up going 11-5. Think about this. They had consecutive seasons of 6-10, 7-8, the strike season, 3-13, 1-15, 7-9. And then all of a sudden they showed up with an 11-5 record in 1991, grabbed the wild card berth, went up to Chicago and won a playoff game. And I don't think anybody was expecting that, because after 11 games that season, the Cowboys were 6-5. And they ended up going on a 5-game winning streak and won 4 of the last 4 games with Steve Berline as the backup quarterback, having to start for Troy Aikman. So to me, that's somewhat similar, but I don't know about this being so similar to 92 and 93. 93 may be one of the best, all-time best teams the Cowboys have ever had. And let's remember, in 92, the Cowboys had the number 1 defense in the league. You know, this team's not anywhere close to being the number 1 defense in the league. So to me, that's somewhat of the stretch. The offenses were potent, but the Cowboys in 92, 93, even in 94, those defenses were top 10 defenses. And this team's got a way to go to be a top 10 defense.
Speaking of defense, I feel like we're injured again. I feel what's going on with McClain?
It's the same position, you know, linebacker, right?
Yeah. McClain, Hitchens. What's going on?
Well, I think we're going to see here. They're going to step out on the practice field in about 3 minutes. He suffered a little bit of a concussion in the game on Sunday. Didn't play the second half. As a matter of fact, they basically sent him home. Now he's going to have to pass the concussion protocol test that they give guys. Jason Garrett sounded today in his press conference that we just finished that he was a little more hopeful that he'd be ready to go. Got a little bit of a strained neck now, so maybe it's moved from the cranium to his neck. I don't know how that injury's moving, but so we'll see. My guess is he's going to play. Hitchens probably won't practice all week, just the way he didn't last week. They were going to keep him off that ankle. It's kind of a mild, high ankle sprain, and then he'll play on Sunday on a limited basis. I should say that's what he was supposed to do on Sunday, this past Sunday, until McClain got hurt, and then he played double the snaps they thought he would play. So, that linebacker position, ever since the first off-season practice when Sean Lee tore his ACL, has just been, one thing after another. They lost Justin Durant. So you've got to think about it. They basically lost 2 starters already. McClain banged up, Hitchens banged up, and everybody forgets Devontae Holloman, who was forced to retire after he suffered the neck injury during the preseason. So it's been a revolving door there, but somehow, some way, they keep plugging guys in and keep getting productions from those guys, especially the rookie Anthony Hitchens, who everybody was up in arms when they drafted him. Oh, how could you take this guy in the 4th round? He wasn't that good, and now he's been one of their most consistent linebackers all season long as a rookie.
Did you mention your phone may have cut out if you did? Did you mention Mincy?
I did not mention Mincy. He also they discovered he ended up with a concussion. Now he finished the game, he played,
right?
But I think he was a little dingy maybe on Monday or Tuesday. And so he's going to have to go through that. We'll see, like I said here in a little bit, see how much he's able to do. And, you'd certainly like to have him out there. It wasn't a great total, but with the sack he got in the playoff game, he leads the team with 7 sacks this year. So, you'd certainly like to have him out. So we should find out more here in a little bit.
Mickey Spagnola with us on the Little Caesars Hot and Ready Hotline on 107.7 The Franchise. The Packers and the Cowboys this weekend in the divisional round. The calf of Aaron Rodgers. Are you hearing anything about this? Is it a big deal at all?
Well, I think we'll find out today because, the plan was for him not to practice yesterday. He hadn't practiced since he restrained it in that game against Detroit, the final game of the season. But from what I was reading and heard, there was a chance that he may not even practice today. So if he doesn't practice today, then that thing's a little bit more serious. Now, I think he'll go out there and play.
Right.
He'll give it he'll Willis Reed it, I'm sure. Now, it's a matter of how long you can last and how effective you can be. And I think that was what was in his mind. I've read where he said, I'm playing. Now, how well I play or what I can do playing might be a different thing.
Well, how do you feel? How do you feel, all things considered?
I think that if they can get these guys that we just talked about on the field, I think they've got a shot. I think this team has been pretty good again on the road. Nothing seems to bother them. The weather, the stadium, falling behind by 21 points, falling behind by 14 points. And so I don't see any reason for any of this to stop. But again, if they're going to be successful, that offense needs to continue scoring points. And it may take more than 24 points they scored against Detroit to be able to go up there and win this one.
By the way, can I just say, can I use Jason Garrett maybe as a poster child for maybe keeping a coach around a little bit longer than 2 years? You know, I know that's like been the new norm over the last, decade. But
like maybe a coach can improve as the more he coaches.
Maybe let a coach go through a bad season, or even two, or maybe even an 8-8 the third year. Like let's see what happens. You know what I'm like? In other words, I think Jason Garrett would be the one guy I would throw out there first as an example of, this might, maybe it's a little bit more. He might be doing fine. He might be doing the right thing. It might be more about the injuries and just plain luck. And let's just keep this guy around instead of just turning it over. But I know how, the jobs of general managers work, et cetera, and they feel like they got to do something now, or their job's going to be in jeopardy, et cetera. But you know what I mean? Like let's let somebody stay there for a minute.
Well, and here's the thing, and I'll give you a little history lesson. Or how about keeping a coach around this first 5 years as being a head coach without a winning season, and he just might turn into Tom Landry, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, that never happens anymore. That never happens.
No, not in this instant microwave world we live in, right? Everything's got to be right now, and if it's not right now, you move on. And I think Jerry Jones was one of the reasons why he was patient, because he felt like he had something and he didn't want to overreact and be the guy that gave Jason Garrett the training ground, and then he goes and succeeds with somebody else.
All right, Mick. It'll be okay. We're having a ton of fun with it, man. We'll look forward to talking to you after it's over with.
I'll talk to you Monday.
All right, man.